It's 9 p.m. Monday night. While the rest of the world slows down, you're tuning in to the Final Boss podcast. This is Motivation Mondays, where mindsets shift, hustle gets honored, and the 6 pillars of success get broken all the way down. We're talking motivation, resilience, sacrifice, consistency, persistence, and perseverance. Hosted by the one and only Turbo, the CEO, bringing real talk, raw stories, and relentless energy to spark your week with purpose. So lock in, take notes, and remember, success ain't just a dream, it's a discipline.
Welcome. Yeah. It is episode number 168. Woo! 168, baby. On our way to episode number 200. And this is the Final Boss Podcast Motivation Monday. Listen, I got a great show for you tonight. OMG, I got a great show for you tonight. To each and every single one of you who are just joining us, listen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Yes, we're going to have a great episode tonight. Chakandi, it's Motivation Monday! Woo! Yeah, man. Get all that energy out. Look, I hope you guys had a great weekend. I hope you had a great weekend, and football is happening in your favor. Hopefully your team, like mine, moved on to the division finals, right? The division finals, man. My team, shout out to my team, man, for getting it done. Shout out to Matthew Stafford. Look, the MVP, there can be no other. He's balling out of control, man. The whole team in support of him and the greatest coach on the planet, Sean McVay. Shout out to the Rams, again, my mob, the only team I've ever known. Listen, and this goes back to my favorite player of all time, man, Eric Dickerson, man. Shout out to him. Glad he's doing, he's well, man. You know, he came on saying some people were saying some things, man. Yeah, go Rams, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Saying some things about him, man, that were untrue, and he cleared up the air. So I'm glad he's doing well, man. My favorite player of all time. Look, when I was a kid, man, I was like, man, this guy, I want to model my run game after him, man. He was just running people over. And, you know, he was just, I was so amazed at that, you know, and being a Washingtonian in a household full of Scamanders. At the time, they weren't called the Scamanders then, but they're called the Scamanders now. But listen, he ran over those guys, man. And I said, you know what? That's how I want to play. I just want to run over some people. And that's where my love for the Rams began, man. If you have any questions or anything you would like to add to that, please drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat. Look. This is episode 169. I said 168 earlier because I made a mistake. It's 169, man. So you 6'9" lovers out there, and 6'9" lovers out there, you're going to love this show. This is a special one just for you. Episode number 169, on our way to episode number 200. And before we get into it, man, we're going to watch it now. They're the Scamanders. They're not the Redskins. Scamanders. I'm gonna make some t-shirts to watch. The name, the Scamanders, will be notoriously known forever. Ain't etched in stone. Look, if you haven't had a chance, man, I'm in a great mood. Look, if you haven't had a chance, go get Go Time. Go get Go Time all aboard the fired up train. Go Time 2 is on its way. Go Time 2, it's on its way. It's going through its first editorial review. It's going through its first editorial review, man. Go Time 2, it's on its way. But make sure you go get Go Time 1. All aboard the fired up train, man. Make sure you go get that if you haven't gotten it. Look, please continue to support us. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. each and every last one of you. Go check out our website, man. Our website is www.thefinalbosspodcast.com. That's www.thefinalbosspodcast.com. And shoot us an email, man. Shoot us an email. Shoot us an email at info@thefinalbosspodcast. That's info@thefinalbosspodcast. INFO, not FAFO, but INFO. Thefinalbosspodcast.com. Shoot us an email, man. Continue to give us comments, man, whatever on whatever platform you see us on. If it's Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Kick, and for your audible listening pleasures, Spotify. Go check that out, man. Now, look, I just told you this was episode 169, right? So, to my final bosses, to my warriors, to my motivators, to my smarts, let's get right into it. Where's my magic wand? Here's my magic wand. I'm pushing you guys all under my spell so you'll watch my show. You're stuck. You can't go anywhere. This is informative information and knowledge and education that you need. Go get pen and paper, people. Go get pen and paper. Let's take some notes. I got the magic wand, right? I've been told it was a magic wand, so we're going, hey, this is my Harry Potter's magic wand. So, yeah. But really, as the architect of insight, this is me orchestrating my orchestra, this platform, and you guys as the audience, right? So we're going to get into it. You got pen and paper? Great. Now, as you know, this is the Final Boss Podcast. I am the Final Boss, the architect of insight. This is episode of 169. And I need you guys to be locked in. I need you to be locked in, as you are every Monday night, right? As you are every Monday night. And you're about to learn an exact framework that separates six-figure entrepreneurs from eight-figure empire builders, right? Eight-figure empire builders. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Look. As you know, I am the CEO of Saturn Digital Networks Development Corporation, right? I've served 23 years of civilian service with the Department of Defense. My last position was a branch chief. You know that I was a survivor of the 9/11, the Pentagon, actually, 9/11, right down the hall, where I had two of my teammates that were injured because of that incident. As you may know, I've served in Afghanistan and Iraq, and I had another wartime deployment also that I cannot mention, right? I'm the author of the Go Time series. And I say all that to say this. We're building each other up on this journey, the Final Boss journey, the Final Boss Podcast, Final Boss Nation, Final Boss community. We're building each other up in this journey. We're going from chess pieces to chess masters, right? And tonight, we're diving into what I like to call tier 3, right? Tier 3, position 2. Last week, we talked about tier 1, which was the 6 pillars of execution. Tonight, we're talking about tier 3, position 2, the 5 scales of empire. 5 scales of empire, which would give you multiplication across all domains. This is the continuation of our tier 3 series, Elite Execution. And if you caught episode 163, where we launched the 6 pillars of execution, you know we're building the blueprint for Go Time 3. And here's the truth nobody's going to tell you. Execution without multiplication is just expensive, hard work. You can execute brilliantly and still be broke. Trust me, I know. Right? Checked all the marks, hit all the data points, looked at all the metrics, and still can be broke. Yes. You can work an 80-hour work schedule and still be stuck. You can be the best of what you do and still be limited by the hours in your day. The 6 pillars of execution taught you how to deploy at championship levels. But tonight, the 5 scales of empire teaches you how to multiply that deployment across every domain of your life until you're operating at a level that seems impossible, right? Impossible to those who are still playing small. But you know, we don't play small over here. We don't play small. So lock in, smarts, right? Because for the next 60 minutes, I'm giving you the empire building framework that took me from solo operator to where I am now, the final boss, right? And you're getting it live, authentic, right now. And most importantly, FREE. This is free, baby. This is free content, right? Do with it what you please, right? But don't infringe on my IP. Look, if you're riding up the fired up train, you already know. We don't do theory. We do tactical. We do militant. We do systematic excellence, right? So let's go. Let's go into the brass tacks of the evening, right? Let's go into the brass tacks. Execution gets you off the starting line. Scaling gets you to the finish line. But empire multiplication, that's what puts you on a completely different track. One where you're not racing against competitors anymore because you're playing an entirely different game. That's tonight's brass tacks. And it comes from no other than me. That's a quote that came out of Go Time, right? That's a quote that came out of Go Time. So make sure you go pick it up. Let me ask you something. To my hardworking people out there, right? To my hardworking people out there, you know who you are. I had a discussion just today with a beautiful young lady who said she was working so hard today, right? That we didn't have our normal communication touch points. But it's okay. I know you're out there working hard. I know you are. So, to all the hardworking people out there, right? Did you work 40 hours, 50 hours, or 60 hours, right? Some of you that are grinding out there are working 80-hour weeks, right? Now, let me ask you this. If you got hit by a bus, God forbid, tomorrow, would your income continue? Would your business survive? Would your impact keep growing? Right? For 97% of people, the answer is no. Right? Because they're not scaling, they're just working hard. And here's the brutal truth, right? Your time is finite. Your energy is finite. Your physical capacity is finite. And ladies and gentlemen, I have to pause for 2 minutes. We'll take this commercial break. I'm coming right back. I'll be right back. Give me 2 minutes. Not even 2 minutes. Let's say 30 seconds. I'll be right back. And we're back. Sorry about that. Right? Little commercial break. And we're back at the Final Boss podcast. Right? Where was I? Said something about finite. Yes. Your time is finite. Your energy is finite. Your physical capacity, all finite. No matter how talented you are, no matter how disciplined you are, no matter how fired up you are, if your income is directly tied to your hours, you've got a job, not an empire. The multiplication principle states this: true empire is built when your results multiply beyond your personal capacity. That means, listen, don't go nowhere. Listen, that means making money while you sleep, impacting people you've never met, building systems that operate without your involvement, creating value that compounds over time, establishing legacy that outlives your lifetime. And this isn't theory. This isn't motivational fluff. This is the structural difference between millionaires and billionaires. And I know a lot of you out there are thinking, "Man, the boss, I'm just a hundredaire. I'm just a thousandaire. I'm just a dollaraire." And listen, even if you're just a dollaraire, a hundredaire, a thousandaire, this is applicable to you, right? This is applicable to you. Millionaires have great execution. Billionaires have great multiplication. Millionaires work in their business. Billionaires build systems that work for them. Millionaires scale linearly, right? They work twice as hard, make twice as much. Billionaires scale exponentially, right? Build once, profit forever. And tonight, I'm showing you the 5 scales that activate this multiplication in your life, right? So you can apply it no matter where you are as an heir, right? If you're a centenaire, a pennynaire, a dollaraire, a hundredaire, a thousandaire, it's all applicable, right? It's all applicable, right? And tonight, this is what we're diving into, because these aren't abstract concepts. These are specific, actionable frameworks that I've used time and time again, right? So let's get into it. And if you have to question anything that I'm gonna drop you guys the receipts. It's all I know. This is what I know how to do. I just submitted my doctoral summary, right, for AI foundations and AI ethical considerations. to the good school of none of your business. That deserves an evil laugh. So, right, here's the foundation of all empire building. Here's the foundation. You cannot scale what you cannot replace yourself in. Think about this. There are 168 hours in a week. If you sleep 8 hours a night, that's 56 hours gone. You've got 12 hours left. You subtract that, eating hygiene, doing your basic life shit, man, whatever, maintenance, whatever you do, playing in the mirror, you've down to about 90 productive hours max. Now, if you are the only person who can do the work, you've just capped your empire at 90 hours of input per week. That's your ceiling, right? That's your ceiling. Now, scaling your time means breaking through that ceiling through 3 mechanisms, right? And I'm going to tell you about Mechanism one, delegation. You need to learn how to delegate, right? That's mechanism number 1. This is where you transfer tasks to others, but here's what most people miss about delegation and effective delegation. Because effective delegation requires systems. You can't just throw tasks at people and hope they execute at your level. You need SOPs. You need quality benchmarks. You need feedback loops, right? When I built any business, let's just say any business that I built, I spent in each business on average the first 3 years documenting everything. Every interaction with clients, customers, every tech solution, every sales process, you name it, I've done it all. Why? So I could clone my effectiveness across the team. Now, when I had Trinity Entertainment, man, I had a magnificent team, street team, marketing team, legal team, PR team, you name it, man. It was layered. We had a magnificent producer team, graphics team, audio team, engineers, producers, you name it, man. We had it. All right. And that's how you go from doing something as a hobby to a full-fledged operating business. My team was on point and it executed well because of my own effectiveness, right? Mechanism number 2, your time becomes, let's see, 0 times 1,000 on repetitive tasks. If a task is repetitive and rule-based, automate it. You have AI right now. Let AI tackle those repetitive tasks, right? Period. The end. Email responses, you can develop a template out there for that, right? Client onboarding, you can create automated workflow for that. Social media postings, you can do that in scheduled batches, right? Financial tracking, there's plenty of software out there for software integration when it comes to finances. Every hour you automate is an hour you buy back to invest in high level activities. I automate ruthlessly, right? My podcast gets repurposed on more than 7 different platforms automatically. Imagine me trying to broadcast each episode to every single one of those platforms. on a continuous basis, 5 nights a week, to include clips from every show every single day. That's a lot of work, right? That's a lot of work. We operate 24/7. They operate around the clock without interference. And mechanism number 3, elimination. Your time becomes infinite by not doing low-level activities, right? This is the most brutal and most necessary scale. Ask yourself, if I stop doing this, what would I actually be doing? What would actually break? If the answer is nothing, stop doing it. If the answer is my ego will hurt, but nothing material, stop doing it, right? Through this process, I was able to eliminate attending meetings that could have been emails, responding to every comment personally, right? Or engaging in perfectionism on tasks that don't impact the business, and keeping up with appearances that drain energy without a return on investment, right? Your time is your only non-renewable resource. You have to scale it or stay stuck. Stay where you are, man. Stay stuck, right? Now, let's talk about scaling your income. Let's talk about scaling your income. Let me tell you a story, right? In 2008, I watched colleagues and friends and family lose almost everything, right? Because the economy had crashed. These were good people, hard workers, dedicated professionals, right? The problem was they only had one income source across the board. All of them who suffered had one income source. When that source dried up, whether through layoffs, market crash, or industry disruption, they had no backup, zero safety net, complete financial devastation, right? I made a decision a long time ago that I would never just depend on one single revenue stream, right? And today, right? Today, I still stand by that. I still stand by that. But for instructional purposes, you need to have at least, this is the minimum, at least 3 income streams, at least, right? The first one should be active income, right? This is your primary job or business, right? Stream number 2 can be something like digital products, right? Courses, books, and by the way, go get Go Time. Go get Go Time. All aboard the fired up train. Go get it, right? Digital products, courses, books, templates, things of that nature. Affiliate marketing, YouTube revenue, podcast sponsorships, licensing your intellectual property, right? I built the Go Time framework once. Now it generates income through books, right? Soon, courses and coaching. And that's going to be on repeat, right? Stream number 3 should be something of a passive income, right? Stocks, real estate, index funds, royalties from something you created, or peer-to-peer lending, right? Peer-to-peer lending. Y'all go do your research on that, right? And those were the three basics. Now, let's talk about the fourth one. An appreciation of assets. We're talking about real estate equity, a stock portfolio, business equity, or crypto, right? The income scaling formula starts with stream one. Once you hit stability, build stream two. Once you hit stability again, you hit stream three. Once streams 1, 2, and 3 are solid, invest in stream 4, right? You never build all of them at once. That's how people crash out, right? That's how people burn out, right? That's how people burn out and build nothing. Build sequentially, build systematically, build with the discipline architecture from tier 2. Your goal, yes, you, within the next 5 years, right? Within the next 5 years, build passive income that could cover your lifestyle, right? Within the next 10 years, you should have true wealth sovereignty where work can be optional. That's not a dream. That's a plan. You just have to implement. And the plan starts with scaling your income through multiple streams, right? Now, let's talk about scaling your impact, right? Scale your impact. Here's a question. Here's a question that separates operators from empire builders. How many people's lives are better because you exist? Yes, I'm talking to you. How many people are better because you're are better because of you? And we're not talking about just your family. We're not talking about just your close friends. I'm talking about hundreds of people, thousands of people, potentially millions of people. And this is not brag. This is January 12th. January 12th, and we just hit 5 million views for the month of January. 5 million views for the month of January on IG and multiple platforms, mostly IG. And I'm so grateful for that, right? I'm so grateful for that. Now think about your platform, right? And think about the Final Boss podcast, right? I remember when I first started, man, I probably was talking to anywhere between 10 to 20 people, if that, per episode. Now, I just mentioned, we just hit almost 5 million for the month of January, right? Messages from people from over 47 countries. People talking about the Go Time framework. People dropping reviews on Amazon for Go Time, right? That's scaled impact. But it didn't happen by accident. It happened through systematic impact multiplication, right? And here are the 3 impacts of scaling that. Level 1, one-to-one impact, right? This is where you have your direct personal influence. This is where everyone starts. You help one person at a time, coaching, mentoring, direct, right? That's direct personal influence. And I remember when I first started, which was about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, man, full of doubt, full of being a novice in this space, full of, I don't know what I'm doing, but it happened, right? That's a powerful source of energy. It's powerful, although it's limited. You can only help as many people as you have hours in a day. And level two, it's the one to many impact. One to many impact, right? That's your leveraged influence. This is where you multiply yourself through content creation, speaking engagements, group programs, digital products, right? This is where you want to be. If you're a content creator, you create the content once, it reaches thousands, right? Same effort, multiplied impact, right? And level number three, this is your impact to impact, or many to many impact, right? This is your institutional influence. This is where you are at a final boss level. You're not just impacting people directly, you're building systems and institutions that create impact without your direct involvement, right? And here's some examples. Building a company culture that develops leaders who develops other leaders. Creating frameworks that other people teach. Go time system being taught by people I've never met. Establishing foundations or nonprofits with lasting missions. Writing books that influence generations, right? My doctoral research is on sovereignty, architecture, and networked consciousness systems, right? I know that's a mouthful. That's what I'm doing. That's going to be, that's my doctoral, right? It is designed to create frameworks that will impact human AI integration for decades to come. That's a level 3 impact, right? So how do you scale your impact? Let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about how do you scale your impact. The first thing you want to do is document your expertise. Listen, if you're not documenting, if you're not writing things down, even if it's just your daily schedule, you're never going to get past the point where you are. Writing is the mechanism to success. Writing. You have to document your expertise. Right? From there, choose a platform, whether it be podcasting, YouTubing, blog, social media, speaking, whatever. Choose a platform, right? Then you have to be consistent. Look, 5 shows a week, 9 p.m. live, without hesitation, right? I'm here. You want to be successful, you have to be consistent. The difference between the smartest, richest, most successful people, it's not about intelligence. It's not about how much money you had when you started. It's consistency, which is one of the 6 pillars of success. That's in go time. One of the 6 pillars of success, man. You need consistency. Right? Then from there, you build community. Don't just broadcast, create engagements, right? And from there, teach others. Teach others what you know. Don't gatekeep. Right? Teach others what you know. If you're trying to monetize, it will come. The byproduct, it will come, right? And then from there, You want to establish institutions. Build what's last beyond you. Remember, your impact is your legacy. Revenue is your reward, but impact is what you'll be remembered for. Scale it deliberately. Scale it systematically. Scale it with purpose, right? Now listen to this. Listen to this, right? Listen to this. About 100 years ago, right? Oh, I have to let you guys know. I'm older than what I am. I'm 1,015. I'm on my way to have my 1,016th birthday, right? And 1,000 years ago, right? We're talking medieval times, right before the Renaissance period. I made a glorified statement. I was talking amongst all the heirs, all of the land leaders, the landlords, and all of these people who were interested in my viewpoints in business. This was 1,000 years ago, right? I said, your network is your net worth. Your network is your net worth. But most people build their network wrong. They collect business cards like Pokemon, right? They connect on LinkedIn with every single person. They attend networking events and leave with nothing but surface level contacts. That's not networking. That's content. That's contact collecting, right? You just collecting people like garbage pail kids, right? You remember those garbage pail kids? You remember those? Real network scaling is strategic relationship architecture. And here's what I mean by that, right? For those who need a little more whiteboarding, right? We're gonna touch. I wish I had my whiteboard right here. Y'all can see it. It's magnificent, magnanimous. Here's what I mean. When I was at the Pentagon, I had access to high-level decision makers, right? I was in those meetings. But having access isn't the same as having relationships. I had to be intentional about building connections that will last for decades. Today, those relationships have resulted into a lot of my business decision making, right? Strategic partnerships, some podcast guests, mentors even, and collaborations who multiply my impact. That didn't happen by accident. Shout out to Colonel Freeman, right? Shout out to Colonel Freeman, right? Yeah. That didn't happen by accident. That happened through 4-tier network scaling system. And I know, again, that's a mouthful, right? But I'm going to break it down for you. Here's tier 1. Here is tier number 1. Strategic core, right? You need 5 to 10 people. These are your closest advisors. People you trust completely. People who know your vision and actively help you achieve it. They have a criteria. That criteria is of shared values, complementary strengths, mutual benefit, proven trustworthiness that has lasted over time. My strategic core includes military leaders, successful entrepreneurs, and family members who understand my mission. Shout out to Ma Dukes out there. Big T Biscuit, right? I communicate with them weekly or more. And shout out to the beautiful young lady, you know who you are. Who's my bounce back person? Who sit backs and says, that's not a good idea. You're being something else. Let's scale it back. Shout out to her. Her name starts with an A, and in the middle is Andrea. Right? She's gonna be like, why are you playing with my name? Look, I communicate with these people weekly. Oh, to include my pops, to include my big cuz, the Brosen, right? And to my auntie, the wonderful and glorious Colonel White, right? All these people are part of my closest advisors, right? And tier number 2, you have to have a collaborative circle. These are active professional relationships. Yes, flag on a play. Flag on a play. These are the active professional relationships. People you work with regularly, right? Joint venture partners, right? Team members, strategic allies, right? And they have a criteria. And that criteria is with aligned goals, regular interactions, proven competencies, and a win-win relationship structure. I maintain this tier through monthly check-ins, collaborative projects, and mutual support, right? And sometimes tier 1 and tier 2 can be interchangeable, or they can work simultaneously together, right? And tier number 3, this is your professional network. These are solid professional contacts, people you know well enough to reach out for specific needs. It can be former colleagues, industry peers, past clients, right? And they also have a criteria they follow, right? And that criteria is professional respect, occasional interactions, specific areas of expertise, established rapport, right? And I maintain this tier through quarterly touch points, social media engagements, and providing value when possible, right? And tier number 4, right? This is your extended reach tier, right? And these are your followers, your subscribers, your general contact, people who know of you but don't necessarily know you personally. This includes right now my 160,000 Instagram followers, right? My 45,000 followers on Facebook, the 5,000 followers on all the rest of the platforms. They're out there, right? I have over 350,000 followers. A lot of people are like, oh man, that's what? That's not a lot. Listen. The naysayers are going to be there, people. Naysayers are going to be there. Ignore the noise. That's all it is. It's just noise. Ignore the noise, right? I maintain this tier through consistent content engagement, with comments, with delivering value regularly, right? And this is how I scale it, right? This is how I scale it on a network scale. Your strategic core determines your ceiling. Your collaborative circle determines your velocity. Your professional network determines your opportunities. Your extended reach determines your influence. Invest mostly in tier 1. They'll open doors that tier 4 never could. Invest consistently in tier 2. They'll multiply your execution, right? Invest strategically in tier 3. They'll provide specific leverage when needed. And invest systematically in tier 4 because they'll create amplification and reach, right? And here's what most people miss about network scaling, because it's not about quantity. It's about strategic depth at each tier. 10 deep relationships beat 1,000 shallow ones every time. Scale your network with purpose. Scale it with strategy. Scale it with mutual benefit. Your network is the infrastructure of your empire. Build it right. Right? Scale your legacy. Right? Now we arrived at a point where we're at the ultimate scale. The one that separates people who build wealth from people who build empires. We're talking about legacy, right? Let me ask you something. What will exist 50 years after you're gone? Think about that. Think about that. Think about that question. Don't you go nowhere. We're almost done. Don't go nowhere, right? Think about what will exist 50 years after you're gone, right? Will your business survive without you? Will your framework still be taught? Will your name still be spoken with respect, right? Guess what? This podcast will be here 50 years after I'm gone. Go Time will be here 300 years after I'm gone, right? So think about that, man. Or ask yourself this. Will everything you built disappear the moment you're no longer here to maintain it? Most people build sandcastles, and I'm teaching you how to build concrete monuments, right? My daughter is my primary motivation for legacy. Everything I create is designed to outlast me, to provide her with generational advantage, to create frameworks that serve her children, her children's children, their children's children's children, and so forth and so on. Here are the 5 pillars of legacy scaling, right? Pillar number 1, intellectual property, right? Intellectual property. My Go Time system, which includes the 6 pillars of success, the 6 building blocks of reward, the pillars of execution, the 5 scales of empire. Those are intellectual properties that will be taught long after I'm gone. My doctoral research on sovereignty, architecture, and network conscious systems is designed to establish frameworks for human AI consciousness integration that would influence the field for decades, right? You have to document what you know. You have to systematize your expertise. You have to make what you know teachable, right? And here's pillar number 2, institutional structures, right? This is your company. This is your foundation. These are the nonprofits that you build with succession planning, governance structures, and ensure that they survive leadership transitions, right? SatDigiNet, or Saturn Digital Networks Development Corporation, is structured so it can operate without me. My podcast is documented system so it could continue if I stepped away. The Final Boss podcast will be here if I step away. My books will generate royalty, right? For my family perpetually. Build with succession in mind. Build with institutional resilience. Build so it lasts. Build it like you're building the pyramids, right? And the pillar number 3, this is cultural impact. This is where you build movements that spread, like the Final Boss podcast community, Final Boss podcast family, Final Boss podcast nation. This is your influence on how people think. The language you create that enters common usage. The concepts you introduce that change behavior. When people say from chess piece to chess master, they're speaking my language, right? When they reference the fired up train, they're using my metaphors. When they apply the 6 pillars of success, they're living my frameworks that I designed. That's cultural impact. That's legacy. Create language, create metaphors, create frameworks. That's how you shape how people think. And pillar number 4, generational wealth, right? Build financial structures that compound. This is your investments, your trust, your real estate that are positioned to provide for multiple generations. And I'm not just building wealth for myself, I'm building for architecture that provides for my daughter, for her daughter, her kids, their kids, their kids' kids, and their children, right? Real estate that appreciates, investment portfolios that compound, business equity that transfers, intellectual properties that generate royalties, right? Build financial structures that last. Build with generations in mind, right? And pillar number 5, right? Mentorship multiplication, right? This is where you build leaders who create other leaders. This is how most powerful legacy scale, developing people who develop other people. I don't just impact people directly. I want to develop leaders who then develop other leaders, creating a multiplication effect that spreads my frameworks exponentially. When someone learns the Go Time system from me, then teaches it to their team, who then applies it and achieves success from it, who then teaches it to other teams, that's mentorship multiplication. That's how you impact millions without meeting them all personally. Legacy isn't what you accomplish in this lifetime. Legacy is what continues after your lifetime. Build it deliberately, build it systematically, build it for eternity, right? Now, to my smarts, to my warriors, to my motivators, to my final bosses, listen, don't you go nowhere. Don't you go nowhere. Stay here, right? Classes and sessions, sit your ass down, right? Now, here's where it gets powerful. The 5 scales of empire don't work in isolation. They work as an integrated multiplication engine. Let me show you how that works, is how they interconnect, right? Scale number 1 enables scale number 2. Scale number 1 is time. It enables scale number 2, which is income. Scale number 2, which is income, enables scale number 3, which is impact, right? And then scale number 3, which is impact, enables scale number 4, which is network. And scale number 4 impacts, enables scale number 5, legacy. And scale number 5, which is legacy, reinforces all other scales. That information sounds familiar, doesn't it? Doesn't it? It's in here. It's a Go Time. The 6 pillars of success. You can't have one without the other. They run and flow congruently, right? You need all 6, right? You need all 6. These principles, they interconnect, right? And here's how they work together. And as an example, right? I've scaled my time by documenting SAT DigiNet operations, right? That freed up time so I could build the Final Boss podcast, right? The Final Boss podcast scaled my impact for like 350,000 followers, right? That impact attracted strategic relationships from not only Fortune 500 companies, but government agencies as well, right? And all types of professionals. Those relationships enable me to build the frameworks of Go Time, right? All aboard the Fired Up train, and position my doctoral research to influence human AI consciousness integration, right? That's scale number 5. 5 scales, 1 integrated system, unstoppable multiplication. When you achieve all 5 scales simultaneously, you create what I call the empire flywheel, where each scale reinforces and accelerates the others, creating exponential growth instead of linear progress. Most people scale one thing, right? Most people scale one thing, maybe 2. Elite empire builders scale all 5. That's the difference between success and legendary status. Now, as you know, let's get tactical. I'm going over, so stay there. Don't you go nowhere. Sit your ass down. Classes in session. No hallway pass, no bathroom breaks. Classes in session. Sit your ass down. Let's get tactical. Right. Let's get tactical. How do you apply the 5 scales of empire to your business and to your life, to your relationships, right? Number 1 is time. You have to start documenting your time and all that the processes of your time. Scale number 2, you have to scale your income, right? That'll free your time, right? Scale your income. Scale number 3, you have to scale your impact, right? Scale your impact. Number 4, scale your network. Number 5, scale your legacy, your structure that you're building, right? In 5 years, you're no longer a solo consultant. In 5 years, you may be the CEO that is running a 5 million business, right? That's the power of the 5 scales of empire, all working together. And this isn't theory. This is exactly how multiple businesses grow, right? This is how multi-million dollar empires are grown, right? I understood their systems and built the framework. Same methodology, universal principles, right? Now, let's talk about your personal empire, right? How do the 5 scales apply to your personal life, right? I know this is what y'all really wanted to hear, right? I know this is what y'all really wanted to hear. Building a lasting personal brand and influence platform, right? Same principles: time, income, impact, network, legacy, right? You do this and you're consistent with it, 3 to 5 years, you've transitioned from working hard to building followers to managing an empire that operates semi-autonomously while you focus on high-level strategy and legacy products, right? This is the current reality of the Final Boss podcast, right? We do 5 shows weekly, right? We have strategic partnerships, right? I'm positioning myself for the doctoral process, right? I've created frameworks that would influence human and AI consciousness integration. And I'm not telling you theory. I'm showing you my blueprint. I'm not gatekeeping. And you can apply the same systems to whatever empire you're trying to build. Whether it's a business, personal brand, nonprofit, creative works, anything requiring scale, you can build it using this same process, right? And here's what most people miss about scaling. It's not just about systems, it's about mindset. You cannot build an empire with a worker mindset. You cannot scale with a perfectionist mindset. You cannot multiply with a control freak mindset. The empire builder's mindset requires 3 fundamental shifts. Number 1, doing to directing. That's delegation, right? Perfection to excellence at scale. Understanding the flaws, but being able to capture and fix those errors, right? Not perfection, right? 80% quality, 80% quality. That's what you need, right? And number 3, from independence to interdependence, right? Independence to interdependence. That's the shift, right? That's the shift that you do on your own. You can accomplish more with the right people, right? You can accomplish more with the right people. Interdependence isn't weakness. It's empire multiplication, right? These 3 mindset shifts, right? Doing to directing, perfection to excellence, to independence to interdependence are prerequisites of the 5 scales of empire, right? Without these shifts, you'll fight the system. With them, you'll build the empire, right? And there becomes a moment in every empire builder's journey that I call scale or fail moment. It's the moment when you say to yourself, it's the moment when what got you here won't get you there, right? It's the moment when your current capacity is maxed out. It's the moment when you either scale or you become stagnated, right? I've had all three. I've had all three scale or fail moments. Trust me, I have, right? Listen, when I was at the Pentagon, 9/11, fiber optics technician, right? I survived the aftermath, but I realized then, and that wasn't the first time that I realized that life is too short. Life is too short to play small. Stop playing small, right? That moment forced me to ask, if I had 10 years left, what would I build, right? What will I build? That question led me to launching multiple businesses, right? Starting a federal career, right? Refusing dependent and being dependent on one income source, right? Moment number two. Moment number two is where we are now, right? It's where we are now. And moment number three is where we are about to be, right? Going through the doctoral, building on AI instruction for humanity, right? That's where we're going, right? But I made the decision a long time ago. I made the decision a long time ago, man. Ugh. And you can too. You can make a decision right now, right? Every scale or fail moment requires you to give up control for capacity. You can control everything and stay small, or you can scale systematically and build an empire. You're going to face your scale or fail moment. Maybe you're in it right now. The question is, will you choose comfort or would you choose empire? Right now, final bosses, it's time to take this from theory to tactical. I just talked about tactical, but now we're going from theory to tactical, right? Right. And this is where I give you your call to action. I got to give you a call to action. You got homework. Go do your homework, right? And I want to turn in on time, right? A's, B's, passing, C, D, E, fail. I'm giving you the scale like my master's program. You can't get a C in my master's program. You will fail. You're going to fail, right? A, B, pass, C, D, E, fail, right? That's the scale. For the next 30 days, I want you to do some empire scale challenges, right? Number one, of course, I need you to audit. I need you to audit your time, audit your everything that you do. Do an audit, right? Scale number two, I need you to do an income audit. See what you're spending. Look at where your money is going, right? And scale number three. Scale number three is, how many people are you impacting? How many people do you have influence on? And this is a 30-day period, right? When you're meeting people, you're having conversations with people, are you impacting them, right? Or are you just contact collecting, right? And scale number four, look at your network. Start planning meetings with your network. Start to build strategic cores, collaborative circles, and professional network extended reach, right? Understand the gaps in your network, right? And scale number five, this is your legacy building, right? Think about what you're trying to build and whether or not it will outlast you, right? Look at your intellectual properties. Document it. Or if it's not documented, document it. I identify institutional structures that you can build. Define legacy, right? If you don't know what it is, what legacy means to you, right? And week 2, that was week 1 of the 30-day process, right? Week 2 is your strategic design. For each scale, you define, right? Define where you are emotionally, right? Set up a target, right, that you would like to accomplish in the next 90 days. Have key actions that are specific. Have success metrics in place so you can see what went well, what went well versus what didn't. Even write down your challenges and your obstacles, right? And then you have to have contingencies. What's the backup plan? You document all of this, every single page, 1 page per scale, 5 pages total. This is your total empire scale blueprint, right? And week number 3, we're talking initial deployment. Taking action from each scale, the time, income, impact, network, legacy, and deploy, right? These aren't massive projects, people. These are initial deployments. Let's see if you can provide scale to each one of them, right? And week number 4, this is your iteration and acceleration, right? Look at the 3 weeks. Double down on what worked. See what didn't work. What didn't work, you adjust. Add second actions if need be. Track your metrics daily. Have after action reviews. Report your progress and your accountability, not only to yourself, but get yourself an accountability partner that's within one of those scales, right? And by day 30, you should have accomplished and completed. You freed up 5 to 10 hours of your time per week, launched a prototype or a new income stream, right? Reached 2 or more people than you did the last month, right? And deepened any already in place strategic relationships, and document your frameworks that have worked and ones that didn't. This isn't a thought exercise. This is an execution challenge, right? Do this, good people. Do this. You have to ask yourself, are you in or are you out? Hey, look, I'm almost done. Don't go nowhere. No bathroom break for you. Sit your ass down. No, you can't have a hallway pass. What do you think this is? This is Go Time University. Sit your ass down, right? And let's zoom out for a minute, right? Let's zoom out for a minute. Let's take a deep breath. Right? Let's loosen up, right? Because what I'm about to tell you, right? With this zoom out, I want to show you where we can all be in a complete tier 3, where we all can be elite on this execution journey, right? Because the 5 scales of empire are position 2 of the 3-part framework, right? Remember the structure. Position 1, the 6 pillars of execution, right? Already covered on episode number 163. Strategic deployment, consistent application, skill implementation, network activation, resource multiplication, peak performance. This taught you how to deploy at championship levels. Position number 2, the 5 skills of empire. Tonight's episode: scale your time, scale your income, scale your impact, scale your network, scale your legacy. This taught you how to multiply your deployment across domains. Position number 3, the 3 throws of mastery. That's what we're going to be talking about soon in the next episode. Market domination, wealth sovereignty, legendary status. This will teach you how to achieve ultimate positioning as the final boss. Notice the progression. 6, 5, 3, right? That's the progression process. 6, 5, 3, right? As you ascend to final boss status, completely decreases, but power increases. I say again, As you ascend to final boss status, complexity decreases, but power increases. You're moving from executing many things to mastering fewer things at legendary levels. Here's the complete go time journey. Tier number 1, character foundation, 6 pillars of success, cornerstone of magnificence, momentum code. Tier number 2, strategic building, 6 building blocks of reward, 5 systems of sovereignty, 4 weapons of warfare. Tier number 3, elite execution, 6 pillars of execution, 5 scales of empire, 3 thrones of mastery, 653. That's the complete architecture. That's 9 frameworks across 3 tiers of building you from chess piece to chess master, right? And here's what's powerful in each framework. This is what's powerful in each framework. Each framework builds on the previous one. You can't scale without execution. You can't execute without building. You can't build without character foundation. This is systematic excellence. This is the go time methodology. And if you've been riding and getting on board the fired up train since day one, and you're here with me, you're now in a position to be in the top 1% strategic thinkers in the world, because most people never got to part 2, never got tier 1 done. Most don't make it to tier 2, but they do tier 3. But let me tell you, this is where legends are forged. We're building the complete Go Time 3 book series framework together live through these Motivation Mondays episodes. This is how, just listening to content, you're participating in empire architecture. Now, to my final boss, to my smarts, to my warriors, to my motivators, we've covered a lot tonight, right? We've covered a lot tonight. The 5 scales of empire. Scale 1, scale your time. Scale 2, scale your income. Scale 3, scale your impact. Scale 4, scale your network. Scale 5, scale your legacy. These aren't just concepts. These are deployment strategies that separate 6-figure grinders from 8-figure empire builders. You now have the blueprint. You ask yourself this question is, will you execute? Will you execute? Do you want to continue to be a centenaire? Do you want to continue to be a diamondaire? Do you want to be a dollaraire? Do you want to be a hundredaire? Do you want to be a thousandaire? Or do you want to be a millionaire and billionaire? Which one do you want to be, right? It's all scalable, right? It's all scalable. Go up the pyramid, man. It's up to you. It's up to you. It's all scalable, right? It's all scalable. Listen, because here's the truth. Information without implementation is just entertainment. Knowledge without action is just intellectual masturbation, right? I've given you the exact framework I use to build Sat Diginet, to build Final Boss Podcast, to build iTrinity Entertainment, to build Otanu Car Care, to build Global Shield Protective Services, to build Blue Raw, to build B2G Global. Listen, right? Listen, I'm in a position to become to have my doctorates, right? And to have global influence on consciousness technology, right? I'm creating frameworks that will impact generations. You've got the same tools right now, the same methodology, the same systematic approach. The only difference between where you are and where you want to be is execution and consistency across these 5 scales. So here's my challenge. Here's another challenge. For the next 7 days, conduct your empire scale audit. Identify one scale where you are the weakest. Take one action to strengthen it. Report your progress back to yourself, back to your family, your Final Boss community, back to your bounce back person, right? Because empire isn't built in a day. It's built in, it is being built one scale at a time. One scale at a time, right? You can't control time, but you can scale it. You can't control economy, but you can scale your income. You can't control your reach, but you can scale your impact. You can't control connections, but you can scale your network. You can't control your morality, but you can scale your legacy. The 5 scales of empire turn limits into leverage. And when you're combining these scales with the 6 pillars of execution we've covered in episode 163, when you integrate them, when you complete tier 1 and tier 2 frameworks, when you become unstoppable, here's your assignment before our next Motivation Monday, right? Do the 30-day challenge, do the 7-day challenge, audit, document. Choose a strength, choose a weakness, implement, execute, daily. Track your progress. Do AARs, right? And remember, in order to go from chess piece to chess master, this is the way. This is the final boss way, right? Thank you guys for locking in with me tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of this movement, the Final Boss Podcast, the Final Boss Nation, Final Boss community. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for choosing excellence over mediocrity. Listen, I am the Final Boss. This is the Final Boss Podcast. I am the architect of insight, right? And I'll see you again tomorrow for Tech Tuesday with the SME, Mike Foff. He's the big sensei, right? See you guys tomorrow, 9 p.m. live. Until then, until the next Motivation Monday, stay fired up, stay focused, stay on the train, baby. Stay on the train. And listen, for references, episode number 169, the 5 scales, empire, implementation, multiplication process. That's what we're on right now, right? Go time is a reference, right? Go time. All aboard the fired up train, right? All aboard the fired up train. Your community that you're in is a reference, right? Start communicating with one another. Do the challenges, right? Right? Do the challenges, man. And have you an amazing evening. And to each and every last single one of you, no matter where you are, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That is our show. Remember, be balanced, be equal, and be smart. If all of this resonated within your spine, remember, there's a heavy pain that comes with discipline, but the pain of regret is even heavier. We are here. I am here. This has been the Final Boss Podcast. Thank you so much. Thank you for staying with me. You may go use the bathroom. Class is dismissed.